Hello everybody, welcome to this QINSy815 Highlights webinar. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our webinar team. We were still waiting for John van der Marel. He is about to arrive to the office, but I think he's stuck in traffic. So I'll start to introduce myself. I'm Ebeline van der Velde. I'm a QPS support engineer, and I'll be presenting this webinar today. Next to me sitting is Frans Nijssen. He will introduce himself right now.
Good morning everybody, this is Frans Nijssen. I'll be gathering your questions and I'll try to answer as many as possible. So please type in your questions that you have and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Frans. We'll be doing short presentations, and questions and discussions questions will be answered in the breaks, and we are aiming at a total time of, well, say between 30 and 45 minutes. For the ones who are not familiar with GoToWebinar, I'll explain the webinar interface. This orange button over here with the white arrow is to hide the webinar control panel, so you've got more space on your screen if you want. And if you have a question, please just write it down here in the questions box. And Frans will keep an eye on the incoming questions, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible. So what we'll be discussing in this webinar are the newly added drivers, an overview of our new features, the QPS voting system, and in the end you will have some more time to ask questions if you want. So let's start with the newly added drivers. We've added 6 new drivers to 815, and the first I'd like to discuss is the XBLUE standard binary driver. That's to decode the XBLUE standard binary protocol. And as is, it's a serial and TCP IP driver, and the UDP driver will be implemented in 816, which will be out in spring. We've implemented the Sonodyne Sprint INS driver. It's including the network UDP driver. We've implemented the acoustic Doppler current profiler with user interface to decode the current data from an RDI ADCP. We've added the ZF profiler, which supports the ZF latest laser scanner. We've implemented EA440 driver that decodes the Kongsberg EA440 single beam side scan and sub-bottom profiler data. And last but not least, we've implemented the OPC server plugin driver. This driver exposes data to an OPC server instance. The features that we've implemented in 815 are the following. Well, this is a short list of the ones that the features that we've implemented, but we've implemented many more. But the ones that we are going to explain are the following. The ADCP support, sub-bottom display, new options for line planning and sounding grid editor, processing manager improvements, and online dynamic service erase tool and navigation display. And like I said, we've implemented many more new features, but please check out the release notes if you want to know more about those. Okay, the first feature I'd like to demonstrate is the ADCP support. Well, ensure to have the ADCP display and the navigation display set up, and I'll start explaining the ADCP display, waiting for the data to come in. The ADCP display shows the ADCP current, direction and speed data in the following charts. There's the profile chart through the water column. That's where my mouse pointer is right now. There's a history chart on average and surface for additional QC here right below, so where my mouse pointer is right now. The graphs presented in red are the average and the greens are the surface data. There's a compass view over here on average and surface, and the raw data is displayed here on the raw data tab. In addition to calculating the average values for speed and direction of the current, the data is also corrected for vessel movement. I'll first show a little bit about the settings on the display. The data that's filtered out can also be disabled. So you can choose to show the filter data or to not show the filter data. So I've chosen to not display the filter data, and now the filter data is being displayed. You can also choose to hide flags or display the flags. So here you can see the flags are shown. So that's the deleted data, but you can also choose to disable that. There is also a way to set up your own layout if you want. So you can change this display layout. You can just, for instance, move the display around and relocate it. So now I've changed the display layout. Well, how to exclude noise of the ADCP data from the ADCP display? You can just go to the computation setup and then go to ADCP. And for example, here we've chosen to exclude or to filter data that's outside 3 meters per second. So if you would just disable that, then you would notice that more data will be less data will be rejected. Sorry about that. So there is no filter data. If I go there, and then speed outside, and then you can see the data is rejected, and the filter data is highlighted as gray color here on the raw data window.
Okay, well, we don't have any incoming questions yet, so if you have any questions afterwards or in the next part, please just type them in and we'll try to address them as we can. So Evelien, you can continue.
Yeah, thanks Frans. I forgot to explain that the on the navigation screen, the arrow that is pointing in the direction of the current, so that can also be displayed on the navigation screen. All right, so we close this down. We go to the next chapter, which is sub-bottom display. Start the replay. Let's wait a little for the displays to arrive. There it is. Waiting for the data to come in. Okay, there it is. So here on the right side you see the signal window, and it can be changed if you want. So you can choose to reveal more or more on the profile or less on the profile. There is also the invert color map, so you can choose to invert the colors. And you can change the color settings. So that's a profile display. So bottom display. All right. I'll also demonstrate how you can export sub-bottom data to SegWi files. So you select the files that you want to export. There you go, export. You go SegWi, raw data SegWi. And then you choose the settings that you want. And that's for the header information. And then you can choose to export data from all sub-bottom profiling systems if you have more than one, or just the one that's selected right here. The data can be exported and then viewed in FM Midwater.
Evelyn, still no incoming questions, so let's keep going, and we'll see maybe at the end of the webinar we have some more questions.
Okay. Thank you, Frans. Can you check if I'm not muted in any way so that people can hear me? Okay, good. Thanks. Okay, the next demonstration is about the line tools and the sounding grid editor. Looking for the right projects. There it is. As you can see here, we've added a new line planning tool and a sounding grid editor to the lower pane in the QINSy console, and from here you can start your line tools and the sounding grid editor. From QINSy version 8.16 we will not implement, or we will not distribute the line database manager and the sounding grid utility as is, so they will be deprecated from the installation. So if I launch line planning from there, from the console, and then I just choose to set up a new line database, so I go new and give it a name, demo, and go create objects and create a line, and right mouse click to close. And then you see this new, or you see this add new object dialog, and here you can choose to display the line indicator or the direction indicator of the line. So if I just choose end, and then you can see this arrow at the end of the line. So that's one of the new features that we've added to this release. You can also create wing lines. So I'm choosing to create wing lines on either side of the line, so three wing lines on port side, 3 on starboard side. Line spacing will be 25 meters, and the wing lines will have the indicators, the line heading or the line direction indicators as well. If you go edit objects, then there's a new feature that we've added. You can see the columns that we've added. the information to the latitude and longitude. I've got the local datum, which is Dutch datum in this case, and we've got ITRAS 89. So these indicate the right datum so that you know what you're looking at, so what the latitude and longitude are. Okay, I'll just save that. So go to save and then close. And then the next topic is the sounding grid editor. I will just be launching sounding grid editor from the console, and I will just be browsing to a sounding grid. So we'll just browse, select the sounding grid that I want, and there it is. So there is no need anymore for Processing Manager to extract all the geometry from the QPDs. You can just launch the sounding grid just like this very quickly. You can just make the settings that you want. I'll just exit this, and then I get this question: do you want to save the session and give it a name, yes or no, save or no, and maybe I don't want this question anymore in the future, so I can just check this little checkbox to don't ask me again. I'll just go exit now.
Okay, we have a couple of questions incoming. The first question is, can you change the direction of the line once it has been assigned? John, can you answer?
Yes, it's possible to change the direction of the line. So when you're editing the lines, there's the edit dialog, and in the toolbar there's an option to reverse the line.
Okay, thank you. Second question. If line planning utility is removed from the install in 8.16 in April, where will line planning will be accomplished thereafter?
Okay, all the line planning functionality that was in the line database manager has been implemented in the processing manager. So everything is available there.
Okay, another question. Can you display BSB, QINSy or shapefiles in the background of the line planner?
So that will be for the processing manager. The processing manager is able to show ENCs in the background. It cannot show BSB files and shape files. That's something that we are working on.
All right, and the last question is, can you extend the line when you're in online mode?
Not in the navigation display, but it's possible to open the processing manager and extend the line in there. So in the edit menu you can type in the length that you want, and then the line will be extended.
All right, thank you. We'll continue with the next part.
Okay, thank you for all these questions. The next subject will be the Online Dynamic Service Erase tool in the navigation screen. So look for the right project. Yes, this one. I will be replaying a database. And it will open a navigation screen. And I'm choosing to store the data on a dynamic surface rather than a static sounding grid. So I go Settings, Session Setup, Storage, and then choose a new sounding grid. Dynamic surface. Cell size 25 centimeters. Ensure to have the correct layers selected. And when you create a dynamic surface, or when QINSy creates a dynamic surface, the DTM file will be created accordingly. So those are the QPDs that go with the dynamic surface. Just go replay. Just wait for the replay to finish up. And then I'll explain how you can erase data from the dynamic surface. So we've added a new tool, which is now on my toolbar, and I've selected here on the layers drop-down menu. So it's in erase sounding grid. So I've just added this new button to the toolbar. So when I just select it, and I can just create a polygon around the data that I want to delete, and then right mouse click to close. And then now it just draws a gap in the sounding grid. And the QPD files that go with this part of the sounding grid will also be updated. So the soundings in the QPDs will be made invalid.
Okay, we have another couple of questions coming in from for the project manager regarding the line data stuff. So I'll quickly go back to that. Question is here, line data files were saved with QGF or PRO extension? John, can you answer this?
Yes, I can. So the line data files that are created in the processing manager are now saved with the extension QGF. This is something that could change in a future version, but basically the format itself will stay the same. The PRO extension, that is something that is not possible to save from the in the processing manager.
Okay. Another question about line planning. When you save a line plan in the process manager, does it automatically update in the line plan which you have online?
No, basically online you need to select or add the created lines.
Okay. And the last one about the line planning is it possible to work with PRO files online?
Not for the line planning. There's dredging functionality where a PRO is still accepted, but for the line planning we've moved over to the QGF.
Okay, and then the last question for this section is a question about sounding grid functionality. Is there a function to find holes in the sounding grid?
In the processing manager there's no dedicated function to find the holes. There is the option to interpolate, but not to find holes.
I think it's actually very good feedback, so we will write that down and we will enter it into our Jira system. One final more question. Can you import a PRO file into a new line planning tool to convert to the new format?
Yeah, that's easy to answer. That is of course possible, so you should be able to use your old PRO files and yeah, you can import them in the line planning functionality.
Alright, thank you. Go back to you, Evelyn.
Yeah, this is in addition to the last bit of the dynamic surface erase tool is that I just wanted to demonstrate if you load the project in Chimera what you'd see. So if you just go select the folder in Chimera, just point cleaning. So that's the dynamic surface with the gap in it. So that was the dynamic surface that was created online. So it loads very quickly in Chimera. So you can go from here and clean your data set. Okay, the last subject I would like to discuss is the feedback project. It's the voting system. Yeah, so how to get to the feedback project, you can just, if you go to Jira, then there's this quick link to vote on issues. So the feedback that's already in the system, the feedback items are items that you can vote on as a customer. And this is an example of, well, this is our dashboard of the feedback that we've already created. And this is an example, so I'll just click that, show you what it looks like. So this is a feedback case that was reported by one of our customers, which you can, as a customer, can vote on. And how can you vote on it? You can go more and then add vote over there. And if you have voted on an issue, then you can also choose to start watching the issue, so you can see what's happening. So then you can monitor the status of it. There is also a quick link from the release notes to the how-to, so how to vote on issues. So if you go here, then there is an explanation on how you can vote on an issue. Your opinion is very important to us, so yeah, we need your feedback, and please let us know what you find important, and we really need to know what our customers need, so that's why we started doing this.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn. We have a couple of more questions coming in. Again, a question about the process manager. John, a question is here. When erasing from the sounding grid in the process manager, does the erase tool erase data on multiple layers of the grid, or can you select the layer that you want to delete on?
And the erase in the processing manager that you execute in the on the sounding grid file is per layer, or there's an erase option for all the layers. But in principle, it works on a single layer.
Okay, thank you very much. And another question about the erasing in the navigation display. If you remove data using the polygon tool, does this remove it from the raw data file?
No, the erase that was shown in the navigation display works on the QPD data. So the data is not removed in the QPD, but it is actually flagged, and that is shown in Chimera, and it's certainly not removed from the raw data file.
So it's easy to retrieve the data that you have removed?
Yes, in Chimera it's easy to bring back the flagged data points.
Okay. Question about line planning. Is there a way to plan lines according to overlap?
No, we do not have a specific tool to plan the lines with an overlap.
But it sounds like really good feedback, so we will write this down and see how we can fit this in the software.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Indeed, we will add that to the feedback project, and we hope that a lot of people are voting for it, and then we can implement this.
Yeah, back to you, Evelyn. At the moment, there's no incoming questions anymore.
Okay, thank you for all these questions, and we would like to end this webinar. We thank you for joining, and please send any questions or feedback about the webinar to webinars@qps.nl, and any feedback on the software, just please create a case in Jira, and if it's a suggestion, then we'll move it over to this voting system. So yeah, we hope to see you soon. And the recording of this webinar will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you have a subscription to our YouTube channel, you will get a notification when the recording will be available. Thank you very much again for joining, and we'll hope to see you soon.